So thank you, Barry Flack, for joining me on this interview. Just before we go into the first question, I wonder if you could just give us a little bit of background about who you are and your experiences.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for inviting me. I'm Barry Flack, a HR and talent professional of over 20 years. What I do today is I help organizations adapt to the new way of working. I help technology organizations, from a HR point of view, be relevant into the market that they're looking for, and I both talk, speak and write into the HR profession on adaptive strategies for today's work.
Thanks. So the reason why I've asked you to come in and talk a little bit is that I'm relating what we're discussing to the section in the book around future skills in an era of new technology. And I'd like to be informed by the World Economic Forum's report called Future of Jobs, which was published in 2015. And what I thought was really interesting was that when they looked at the top 10 skills required in both 2015 and 2020, what we saw as a difference between the two was that in 2020 we were seeing a serious rise in the human skills. So things like critical thinking, emotional intelligence, so on and so forth, were definitely going up the rankings. So with that in mind, I'm trying to think, how do we convert that for an organisation that wants to future-proof its skill sets?
Okay, yeah, look, a really good question. I think the organisations today, to start that path, have got to realise that the whole rules of engagement that it has been used to have changed forever. That requires a bit of honesty on behalf of the organisation to turn the mirror on itself. And in doing so, I think there's two funnels to look at, Matt. One, very much about the organisation as it sets up and how it both attracts, engages, retains and shapes and structures the way that it does work. And I'm finding more and more organisations required to change that. From an individual and a skill perspective, because of the rapid changes that we are experiencing, the old belief that we were a technically gifted professional in one particular area forever has gone. Our life cycle for some of these skills now require, as you rightfully pointed out, the more softer skills to be promoted around learning agility, around the ability to, frankly, be comfortable with not knowing, and understand that as we move forward, we're looking for people who can adapt more than we're looking for people with deep domain expertise in a particular area.
Interesting. And then the second thing that I remember from our conversation a few days ago was that you pointed out that increasingly we're seeing this growth of agile working. And if we really translate what that means, I would suggest that perhaps organisations are increasingly looking towards what's our minimum viable persons that are required to make the organisation function. And then you talked a little bit around how you see the future of workers being that they're almost taking a box of skills and attitudes and identity, and they could be docking with one organisation today and then pulling that out and docking with another organisation tomorrow. Perhaps you could elaborate a bit more about what you meant by that.
Yeah, so that reflects, similar to the organisations, the other side of the equation, what we've termed work is undergoing fundamental disruption. What we call contingent workers, which is probably not a great definition, is growing. And therefore, I think, with a variety of forces aligning, we're more likely to see a more supermarket approach for a lot of organizations and how they deal with workers. We're using that technology to get people, to do pieces of work for them over a short or a longer point of view, or a period of time, should I say, that allows them, frankly, to tap into their IP, their social capital, their expertise, their experience. And there's nothing that would stop, certainly from a technology and a transient point of view, for those individuals to be working for a variety of competitors, to be working across that same industry. You got to remember, this has got a wonderful opportunity to fix the supply and demand issue that's crippled us for years inside the world of work. But it does throw up a brand new set of issues for us as organizations around privacy and security and IP and how we govern the whole movement of a worker across these pieces.
That's really, really interesting. It's something that we could talk for hours about. But what I would say is if anybody wants to continue the conversation with you, just along the bottom of the screen, they can see your website and email address. And I'm sure you'd be happy to hear from them. So, Barry, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Matt.